following is a digital media production.
Hey, everybody out there. This is Billy Jaffe from Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe. Coming up on this week's show, well, we're going to talk with Jay. We're going to see what's on his mind, obviously, but we're also going to let the fans get involved. We're going to be taking a bunch of calls. The response was huge when we put out there the other day via social media about getting involved. We're going to talk about the St. Louis Blues, what's going on there. We're going to talk about Alexander Ovechkin and how he's transformed his game. We're going to hit on so many things. It's a Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe, powered by digital media.
Roenick, what a move! Jeremy Roenick shot, score! Magic for JR!
Jeremy Roenick.
What the hell is he looking at? How does he not see it?
Mike Milbury's a donkey. That's all he is.
He's a son of a... NHL, wake up.
Billy Jaffe.
There's a lot of energy right now here, and it's only going to build, and I can't wait for that.
This is Roenick Life with JR and Jaffe, powered by digital media. Find your voice.
Well, I've seen you on Sunday mornings before, so I don't know what you're looking like this Sunday morning, Jay.
I am a mess. I'm a mess. I do have one thing, Billy. I got my hair cut, so my hair's not all over the place. But
fine. Yeah. I was going to say something to you, actually. You know what? I saw, in the Winter Classic, you and Milbury kind of skated into the picture. Remember in front of that little rink you guys were doing your open there?
My hair was everywhere.
You had the flow going.
I had so many texts and tweets going, holy hair, your hair's all over the place. So I had to do something about it, so I got it all cut off. So I'm feeling younger, looking younger, but
all right.
It's a lot better than waking up with the big bedhead, boy. I'm telling you. But I am still a mess. It's Sunday morning. It's raining out.
Yeah, it's raining where I am too.
Yeah, but still, it's been pretty interesting fun. And by the way, Billy, screw everything. Screw all the hockey talk. Screw everything that's going on.
Okay,
I gotta give you props, man. You're not supposed to know more than me, and you're not supposed to be right before I am right. And you called it right with the Johansen trade. I got to give you props. I'll buy you dinner next time. Johansen gets traded for Seth Jones. Totally blew my mind. You don't really see trades happen like this with young studs, and you called it. You said he wouldn't be there by the end of the season, and you were right.
I'll tell you what. Well, first of all, I appreciate that momentary recognition from you. I do appreciate that. I hope I do get to know at times as much as you. And every once, I'll be like your child. Every once in a while, I'll be right on the show.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen,
that was a big right.
I can tell you something. Knowing people and doing what I do and talking to people around the league, that the Columbus Bluejackets had started to, tire might be the wrong word, but they got frustrated with trying to get Ryan Johansen to the level where they felt to motivate him to the level where he felt he needed to be to play at that high level. And while there was a lot of people telling me there was no hard animosity between the two sides, Jay, because of the whole contract squabble going back over a year, that it just was time to move on in their minds. And when somebody tells me,
ballsy, man. That's
ballsy. It is ballsy. But when somebody tells me, how this is going to end, that says to me, he's getting traded.
Yeah, but you know what though, and I gotta give Kekalainen a lot of credit here. I mean, Tell me why. Because this took a lot of balls. I mean, Johansen has so much upside in terms of his ability and his size and his strength and his ability to score goals, and he's a smart hockey player. Yes, I still think he the fact that he has that ability to disappear and not have that work ethic scares me a little bit. Sure. Is he going to do it again? But the Kekalainen, Jarmo, had the guts to say, okay, I'm going to part ways with probably a very, very big-time offensive, could be future star, but look who he's getting back. And to be able to work a deal like that, to go into Nashville, to see what they had, and to have the opportunity to look at a guy that he could probably get his hands on and to work that deal, because both teams got exactly what they need if you look at it. Yes. Seth Jones is a number one. I think a number one, especially a future number one for a long time.
Yeah, I'm not 100% convinced yet, bud. I'm not.
Really? I mean, he shows all the signs of it, and it's not his fault that he has to stand behind a superstar in Shea. Mm-hmm. And Yossi's having a phenomenal year,
and he's a great defenseman.
Yeah, very good defenseman. Yeah. But I think. In everything that I've seen with Seth Jones, he has all those attributes and all those qualities that that I see in number one players. He's a very, very smart hockey player. He moves the puck out of the zone really well. He's great on the power play. He can skate. He's big. He's strong. I wouldn't call him Chara-like. I wouldn't go that far. No. But he's got the potential of being a long-time number one. And Columbus is needed. They've had no number ones in their system.
They've had no number twos, really. They've had no number twos even. And with no disrespect to those guys.
Good point.
They really haven't. I mean, they just, they haven't. But this is my take on Seth Jones. And I do not know him well, personally. I've just seen him professionally. Seems like a wonderful kid. I don't know if I see, when it's all said and done, enough of that take chargeness that a number one needs to. Now, you make the valid point. Behind Weber, behind Yossi, they go out and they sign Ekholm. They have Ellis there, so they've got all these guys already. And he's kind of like he's everybody's younger brother, and you've got to mature him, or you kind of got to marinate him, right, and bring him along and do that. I'm just not sure. I see enough overall finish to his game, Jay, to say to me that he's a number one, but. Very good points about both teams getting what they need. There's no question about. I still think Nashville wins the trade, though. I don't know if you do. I get pressured into saying,
I think you're right. Yeah. No, I think Nashville wins the trade, and it's great. He stepped right in, scored a goal in his first game. Maybe in his first shot on net, he scored in the first period.
Yeah,
he did.
No, he did. Yeah. But they haven't won. That's the only thing, though. They still haven't won with
I think they have a lot more problems with that team than just finding their number one center, or maybe
I don't disagree.
More. They have some. Definitely some gelling issues where they just don't show up every night. And this team has size, they have strength, but they become like lost. They don't show up. They're not motivated, which
is odd under Peter Laviolette, wouldn't you say?
It really odd. So it's always interesting to see trades and see how the team responds, and the team has not responded at all. I think Columbus, went in, had a tough game in Carolina, but came back and won the next night against them. So at least they're responding. But
real quick, Jay, just go off topic here a little bit. We always make a small outline, not much. God knows you and I can't really follow an outline well when we talk about things. Yeah. But can you go back into your career? Not for you getting traded personally. I'm talking about, was there one trade that was a big one that kind of riled, instead of making the locker room better, or kind of the team was off kilter for a little bit that you can remember?
Well, for me, it's for me, and I know it just sent shockwaves and was just really, our locker room became a morgue when Keith Tkachuk got traded to St. Louis, and he got traded for Vladislav Nagy and Michael Handzus. Mm-hmm. So you got these European guys coming over from St. Louis, and literally the glue and the rock and the captain of our team, and the guy that was probably the most liked guy on our team, and Keith Tkachuk, was gone. And it was like, we knew it was because of money. Yeah. And we're like, you idiots. You just traded one of the future, what's been the future of this team, and are the leader in this. And it kind of seemed to, after that, it went right downhill.
No chance after that. No chance. You guys were in the crapper.
We were done. We didn't make the playoffs that year, and we started dipping in fan attendance. Then the team went out to Glendale, and then everything went to hell because. Bad decision. Bad decision. Keith Tkachuk is one of 4 Americans ever to score 500.
Yeah, so that was a different type of trade in the sense of this is young star for star. This was, what I mean, but that was different still. You understand. That reminds me of the Johnny Boychuk move before last season for the Bruins. Because of money, because of cap space, they sent him to the Islanders, and the Bruins never, right before the season they did it, Jay, and never got over it. I still say, of all the deals, by the way, the Bruins have made over the last couple of years, whether it's trades or not signing guys for free agency, the Boychuk one was the biggest loss because it did exactly what you said to the room. Yeah. It made it quiet. And there's nothing worse than a quiet room. Ever at any level. Quiet rooms in men's leagues suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out what the players on each Nashville and Columbus feel about that trade. They both got good players in return, so I guess they got to. But I still think Columbus has to find a way to score goals.
Oh my God!
Holy smoke! Who's going to score goals for this team? They have to do something.
And now Foligno's hurt. Now he hasn't been having a great year. He got hit the other night.
They're in trouble.
They're in trouble.
How about the trouble in Anaheim again? In Anaheim, you get they win 3 games. They go from last place to third place. All of a sudden, everything's fixed. Then they get smoked by Toronto. Like this team doesn't get it. They don't get it.
No, they don't.
I'm telling you. And now they make another trade for another goalie and bring Tokarski over from Montreal. I mean, now they have 4 goals. Now they have 4 goalies. So
but that means they're moving one, right? I mean, that means that they're setting up.
Yeah, they're setting up. They're setting up for something. I'm telling you, if I know Bob Murray the way I know Bob Murray and the way he's been for the last couple of years, he's been the most active GM in the NHL for the last 2 years. Not even just trade deadline. I mean, just trades throughout the year. He's gonna make a blockbuster. He's going to do a blockbuster deal somewhere. And I bet you Getzlaf is involved. I bet you Anderson's involved. I bet you I'm going to go on record and saying maybe Hagelin's involved because they don't need Hagelin on that team. He's fast. He's not scoring any goals for them. Mm-hmm. And they don't need any more defensive players. They don't need Hagelin. I'm telling you, he's going to do a blockbuster.
Well, here's the thing, and just to back up your points right now, talking about the points of Carl Hagelin, as we're sitting here talking, he's got 9 points and 3 goals and 6 assists through 40 games for the team. And by the way, just to give a little depth to what you're talking about, just in January alone, they lose to Vancouver in a shootout. And then they beat Winnipeg. They catch them on a Sunday when Winnipeg's tired. But then they get shellacked by Toronto 4-0. Then they beat St. Louis in a shootout. So they're so all over the place, so all inconsistent. Over the place. And I think that I don't disagree with you. I think Murph is going to pull a deal. He absolutely has to.
He has to.
He may want to move Getzlaf. He may want to. People I've spoken to lately saying that Getzlaf has started to lead better. He started to step up more overall in general. How much
time do you give him? I give him. Well, if they lose, remember
he's got a big deal, and he's got no move in that deal, Jay.
I know, but I mean, gosh.
Listen, everybody talking to Murph, everybody talking to Anaheim right now is going to see if they can pry one of either Sami Vatanen, Cam Fowler. Yes, Fowler's still dealing with the knee injury. Yeah. Or the defenseman Hampus Lindholm. One of the 3, and I just don't see it happening. I've been talking to people about Jonathan Drouin and what they would want back. And I talked to people around the Anaheim organization about it, and people and sources talking to there. I said, "What's the asking price back?" And they're hearing young defensemen. I said, and I don't think they will give up a Fowler, a Lindholm, or Vatanen for him.
Where's the best place for a guy like Drouin to end up? I mean, I think Montreal would
desperately love him. I mean, Montreal would desperately love Jonathan Drouin, who, by the way, went down to the American League, which he said was never an issue. He was going to do it. He was given a few days to not go down there, which is cool. Yeah. Okay, settle things down. I respect that. And in his first game, he scored 2 goals on breakaways, and which was nice. But then he kind of petered out as the game went on. Just by reports, I did not talk to anybody after his second game with the Syracuse Crunch. He played very well. No points, but he played very well, and he got better as the game went on. So where does he end up, Jay? Look, in the Eastern Conference, it's going to have to be a premium for him because Steve Yzerman doesn't want to trade him to the East for fear that he's going to become a 60 to 80-point guy regularly. Yep. But the Montreal Canadiens would love him. I
think Philadelphia needs a guy like him too. Does Philly have the horses to trade for him?
Well,
right?
They have. They might. It does, but I don't think Ron Hextall's going to give up. Who do they give up? Sean Couturier, a young guy like that.
I would take Sean Couturier right now. I would package him up, and I would take him down there myself. I would take him down there myself. Seriously,
he's playing better. I mean, he's
Couturier. Listen, the last 3 games. Yep. The last 3 games, their best players have been Schenn, Couturier. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you're always going to get everything from Drew and Voracek. They work. I don't
know if they have the horses, buddy. I really don't to get, because I don't think Steve Yzerman wants a number 1 pick back. He wants a young potential star back as well.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree.
It's the Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe, powered by Digital Media. The National Academy of Sports Medicine is looking for people who want an exciting career in the fitness industry where you wake up every day and you do something that you love. NASM trainers are improving people's lives by helping them reach their health and fitness goals, and the demand for these trainers is huge right now. Imagine waking up every day excited to get to work. Not a job, but to go to a rewarding career. Getting paid to stay in shape, who doesn't want that, while helping others reach their fitness goals. You set your own hours, you work in health clubs, sports clinics, and corporate wellness places, and you'll love who you work with. Do what you truly enjoy and get paid for it. What else could you ask for? There's no better time than now to get started on your certification with the National Academy of Sports Medicine. Plus, NASM guarantees you'll land a job as a personal trainer within 60 days of earning your CPT certification or get your money back guaranteed. Go to myusatrainer.com for a free 14-day trial of their fast and fun online program. You'll love it.
Hey, St. Louis got to make a deal too, because that team just playing like they want their coach fired. They're playing like they want Hitch fired, and I'm sure Hitch right now is flipping out.
Go back to, wait a second. Let's go back to this. You've been around. You've been involved in situations like this before. I want to ask you also about playing for Hitch when a team is struggling, but not yet. But you've been in the situation where the cliche, or not the cliche, the term playing to get the coach fired has definitely happened. What does that mean, Jeremy, in the room? What does that mean?
I just think they're not responding. And when I'm not when I say not responding, they're going out and when there's meetings, they're not all in listening. They're not paying attention.
Now, have you been a part of that before? Have you been in a locker room that's like that?
Yes and no. I mean, yes and no. I can. There are a couple coaches that I didn't like that I would still play because I love to win. I had thick skin, but there's some guys that I just didn't like.
Who'd you dislike the most? I won't use the term hate. That's not. Who'd you dislike the most?
My concussions are so bad. Seriously, I forget guys' names when I'm doing a broadcast for
That's true. That's true.
The coach that I had when I first went to Phoenix.
Was it Francis?
No. I liked Bobby Francis. He was good. Yeah. Lou will find out who my first coach in '96 was in Phoenix, and he'll get it at me. He drove me bananas. He didn't know anything about hockey. He was an absolute puss in the room. He wouldn't say anything until he looked at me. Yeah, Don Hay.
Thank you, Lou. Don Hay.
Yeah,
okay.
That's who. That's
and
who
he's
it was.
a lifelong hockey guy.
Yeah,
too.
that's who it was. It was Don Hay. Yeah, Don Hay. I couldn't stand him, and I heard through a rumor that he wanted to trade me for a bunch of for some good quality Canadian boys, and whether that's true or not, I didn't like that rumor, and I wouldn't put it past him to do that. But he just didn't have the balls in the locker room to do the right thing, and I didn't. But let's get back to
let's get back to
playing for him.
Yeah,
they get on the ice, they're not prepared. And, Hitch wants an in-your-face, tight-style defensive game where they're hitting and they're aggressive and they're hard to play against.
Heavy hockey. I love that term. I'm getting
heavy hockey.
That, by the way. Heavy hockey.
And I haven't seen that from this team. This team folds as soon as a team bites back. And a perfect example was the other day in St. Louis. They're winning 2-0, right? And next thing you know,
Ottawa, right? Over
Ottawa. Next thing you know, Ottawa comes storming back, bites back, and ends up winning in overtime. And
that comes, by the way, after a big loss in Toronto, where they lost 4-1 the 2 nights before.
Yeah, and these are teams that St. Louis has one of the best teams on paper in the National Hockey League, in my opinion.
I don't know. It's funny. I get what you're saying, but yeah, go ahead.
But they don't want to play Ken Hitchcock style. And I bet you Ken right now is having a conniption. I bet you his blood pressure is so high, I can't even imagine. I bet you he's lost like 30 pounds in the last 3 weeks, which isn't a bad thing, by the way. 30 pounds in the last week with stress over this team. And
he's got to be frustrated. Look, they lose on January 2nd. They lose 4-1 in Toronto. Then they come home on Monday and they lose in overtime, the aforementioned game to Ottawa 3-2. Then they go to Colorado and they lose in overtime 4-3. Then they go to Anaheim and they lose in a shootout 4-3. They do win on Saturday night in what was. I caught some of it after my Bruins game in L.A.
Brutal.
It was 7 shots through 2 periods. They end up winning in a shootout, so I will give them the announcer credit of winning. But
I would rather shove thumbtacks into my eyeballs and run into traffic than to watch the St. Louis Blues play that style.
Right?
I would rather,
isn't it? I mean, with Tarasenko on the team?
Terrible. Absolutely terrible hockey, and I think this team is worn out with Hitchcock. I do, and Hitchcock's one of the best, brilliant hockey minds.
Is he? Is he was one of the best minds that you played
yes,
for?
He absolutely is. He's a methodical. He's a student of the game. He never played the game at the level, but he's so knowledgeable about the game. But you know what? He whines and he whines when he loses, and he's just in such a bad mood. And the aura that he throws off when he's in a bad mood or when he's in the locker room when you're losing is so awful as a
guys
person.
Can't stand that. They
Can't
stand it.
He'll walk into the room and he won't talk to anybody. He won't say good morning to you. And that drives me crazy. It drove me crazy, Phil. He walked into the room a couple times after we lost games, and and he would pick certain players to say hi to. And I like Hitch. Don't get me wrong. I like Hitch. He's a great guy. He was a great coach. But you can't have mood swings like that. And I'm sure that's getting tiresome in St. Louis.
Yeah, I hear that a lot of guys, when they play for Ken Hitchcock, have similar reactions that you do. They respect a lot of the good, in the sense of the understanding, the tactical aspect of it, the preparation. And while that can sometimes drive certain guys crazy, I think most guys at the NHL level, at least this is my feeling, and this comes from guys that I know that all the guys I know that play at that level, they like structure still. Even though they're creative athletes, they crave structure, and he brings that. Okay, that's what you guys. I know when I played college, you crave structure still. You want to know tell me what to do, and I'll do it. Don't be that. And that's a good thing. But all the other stuff about it drives guys bananas. And I hear a lot of times. You can tell me if this is true or not. I'll ask you this. I hear a lot of guys lash back at him at times. They'll tell him what they think on the bench. Is that true? Did you guys experience that?
I heard that too. Yeah, I heard that too. That it runs thin, and that when that water hits that boil, the guys are snapping back. And I hear there's some guys that want out. I heard Shattenkirk doesn't want to be there anymore. I hear he's just had enough.
Yeah. Not happy with the way that they're using him.
No.
Not happy. Now,
I don't think that. I think by the way they're using him, I think maybe by the way that maybe the message, maybe the coaching staff is sending to him, maybe the complaining about. I don't.
He's still playing a lot. He's still playing.
And he was one of the hottest guys going. He's one of the hotter players. I think he scored in 3 straight games, playing good hockey. But I hear Ken, Hitch is constantly berating him about his conditioning and whether he's in shape and whether he's ready to play. And
that was part of his exit interviews a year ago, and he came back and he got hurt this year. I know that he is not thrilled with the way that St. Louis has given him, they're kind of treating him third pair type stuff. He plays a ton on the power play. Got to remember something, though. This is kind of that good and bad, Jeremy, with a team like that, because you already have Pietrangelo, who's a right shot, just like Shattenkirk. Then this kid, Colton Parayko, comes up out of college. He played just the end of last year in the Chicago Wolves, the minor league team of the St. Louis Blues. Yeah. And the kid is a beast. I mean, he looks like Dolph Lundgren. He's a good player. He is huge. He can rocket the puck. And all of a sudden, he's become kind of the soup du jour. You know what I mean? Of the day, the guy of the day.
Well, that's what happens. Yeah, that's what happens there.
And now all of a sudden, Shattenkirk, who they are hard on him. He's a -12 Shattenkirk as we sit here and talk. Still playing 21-46, but when he's out there at even strength, he's playing a lot with the third line. He's not getting a lot of the big minutes with the top offensive guys. It's going to be curious. Now, remember this: he has a year left on his deal. Kevin Shattenkirk going to be in his sweet spot coming up. He could sign a contract as of July 1st, an extension. I mean, but I think he's going to want to hit free agency, unrestricted free agency.
Absolutely,
in a year,
he's gone
and go somewhere. And it wouldn't surprise me being a Northeastern.
Yeah, but who's
guy.
going to be gone first? Who's going to be gone first? Hitch or Shattenkirk?
Well, Shattenkirk has a year left on his deal. Hitch only has this year left on his deal. I would think,
that's what I said.
This is my guess. When it's all said and done, and I'll leave it with this. I think that Kevin Shattenkirk finishes the year with the Blues and then gets traded in the offseason. That's what I think. That's what I think.
Okay, I'm gonna say I don't think Hitch lasts the season.
Oh, all right. Well, listen, they could if the Blues and Doug Armstrong pull kind of a Lou Lamoriello.
I'm just watching this Blues team, and I'm not seeing the bite that they should get and getting the reaction that they should get from a coach that is very smart, and he motivates really well normally, and he's not getting it from his team. I still think Ken Hitchcock's one of the best coaches I ever had, but we just didn't see eye to eye on everything because I wanted to. He always said, JR, why are you always on your own page? I said, well, because my own page is a lot more fun sometimes than your page. That's what I would say. But
your pages are pretty fun.
I remember playing in a game one time, and I got the puck, and I'm right in front of the bench, and I was battling for a puck, or I was doing something, and he yelled at me, and I literally stopped, and I said, will you shut the I'm playing a hockey game here. And everybody started laughing on the bench. It was funny. I literally yelled during the play. I'm like, you got to stop.
That's what I hear guys yell at him on the bench.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not there. I'm not saying they do. I'm saying I hear that I hear that there is some choice words sent his way.
Hey, speaking about yelling, Billy, I got to go to all these Twitter people. People on Twitter are yelling at me.
Oh, okay, hold on one second. Hold, Jay, hold on.
No,
we're going to get
talk.
to that.
We got to talk about these.
But let's finish this part because we've got. This has been great going around the league. Let's end this on a happy note, okay? This is on a happy note. Let's talk about something I know you love, and we'll do it quickly, but we still have to give it its due, okay? Alexander Ovechkin, okay? All of a sudden,
we got to talk about Alex.
Hey, from somebody who is a goal scorer like yourself, and you appreciate, I know you do, I know you appreciate what he does, but also I want to say this. If you remember about 2 years ago, and this should be a lesson also for Sidney Crosby, okay? Because Crosby got a lot of guff, and fairly so. From we talked about him, everybody else was talking about him the first 6 weeks of the season. But remember how 2 years ago everybody said Ovechkin?
Yeah,
shit, I wouldn't take him. I wouldn't take him on my team.
Yeah,
wouldn't do it. Look at him. Look at him. He's just doesn't do anything.
Now he's awesome.
Now he's
playing the game. He's playing the game. He's scoring goals. I mean, he has a chance, Billy. Mm-hmm. He has a chance of being the best all-time goal scorer in the history of the game. And,
it's impressive. I don't know if he can get that, but man, oh man, he's doing is amazing.
He turns 31 this year. If he can play another 9 seasons,
and get 30 a year, 40 a year. I hear you.
Yeah, 30 a year, another 9 seasons, he's going to get there. I mean, he's going to get there.
Yeah, and he's a better player, isn't he, this year overall?
He's a better player. He's smarter. He's more aware defensively. He's doing the things that you need a captain to do. And look what's happening. This team's the best team in the National Hockey League for a reason. I mean, Braden Holtby has not lost a regular season game since November 22nd or November 21st. That's to me. That's a team that's buying into a system. It starts with Ovechkin. It's awesome.
It's awesome to see the way that he scores his goals. I know that you did something for the Washington Capitals telecast. I caught about 6 seconds of it going on his top 10 goals, right?
Yeah, his top 10 goals. Obviously, it's very tough to come by to pick top 10 goals of. And by the way, he's played 800 games. Yep. 500 goals in 800 games
in this era.
It's unreal. And let's give props to Backstrom making his first All-Star game. Good for him. He's been snubbed.
That just shows how
he's been snubbed so many times.
Been snubbed. I mean, but honest to God, has there been a guy who's been rejected more than not rejected? You know what I mean? Ben Backstrom, and then even Drew Doughty in the West. I mean, Doughty should have won a Norris by now. I think he's on his way this year. But anyways, get back to
he's taking a lot of beating. And Ovechkin, I'm glad that he's back. We talk about now maybe Crosby is down. He's going a little bit wrong way. He needs to step back up. Hey, he didn't get picked for the All-Star game this year.
We shouldn't have. I didn't think he should have.
I was on TV the other day, and this drove me crazy. Anson Carter said he should be there because he's the spokesperson for the game.
Oh, that's a bunch of crap.
It's one of the best. And Anson was saying that you make the All-Star game because of your reputation. I said, are you seriously? Are you smoking something? You don't make an All-Star game because of your reputation. You make an All-Star team because of how you're playing.
Well, I got an argument.
With the exception of Pekka Rinne, who should be there.
No,
it should be Corey Crawford.
See, we
should
do
be going there.
We do think alike, which I don't know if I'm happy about.
What the heck is Pekka Rinne going to the All-Star game? By the way, he's a great goalie.
It's in Nashville. That's why. That's
okay, so now we're picking players because of where the game is.
Jeremy, absolutely. Look at his record compared to what Corey Crawford is, and Corey Crawford had 6 shutouts. Pekka Rinne is a few games over 500. I'm sorry. Listen, I love Pekka Rinne. Good for him.
Bad choice.
Shouldn't go. Shouldn't be going. It should be Corey Crawford.
And Sidney Crosby doesn't belong there either.
No,
and by the way,
this year.
How many years has Sidney Crosby been in the league, and how many All-Star games has he been voted to? He's only played in 1. He played in 2007.
Yeah,
he never goes.
Yeah, I know. Well, listen. Let's just quickly wrap up.
Last year he got hurt.
Yeah,
a phantom injury.
Well, he's always dealing with something, and that's part of being a player. Look, we don't have time to go into the whole thing of guys going, not going, but let's just wrap up here with Ovechkin real quick. Jeremy, I think that he's on, he's on his way to his best year, not points wise. I had to, again, one of these things.
Best all around year.
One night. This is going to be his best all around year, and I don't think he's going to lead his team in scoring. I think that Nicholas Backstrom will end up leading the team in scoring because
I think Kuznetsov might do it.
He might do it. Well, right now they're 1 point apart, the three of them, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Kuznetsov is a godsend to this team because it balances them out down the middle. They are so good down the middle right now. We didn't even get to talk about Mike Richards. We can't get into that right now time-wise. But overall, this team is silly good, silly deep. They can't just stay on pace. Don't try and do anything stupid. But Alexander Ovechkin, listen, a couple of years ago, nobody wanted to say, I'll take you, I'll take you, I'll take you. Now, right now, if you ask experts, he'd be in everybody's top 3 to take on their team.
Absolutely.
I think top 3 or 4 on the team. No question about it. So.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Well, listen, hey, and I think that feeds right back to what I was saying before about Twitter and about the fans and about the fan voting, because obviously we already went over the John Scott debacle, and he's going to the All-Star. And by the way, he is the only, and what I said last week before the teams were picked, that John Scott was going to go and he's going to take somebody else's opportunity to go. And he did. He's the lone representative of the Arizona Coyotes. Poor Shane Doan. Poor Oliver Ekman-Larsson, guys that should be there. And
Doan's the only guy that should be there as far as I'm concerned. Ekman-Larsson hasn't deserved it this year. But Doan, I agree with you on Doan. I do agree with you on that part. But on the other hand, I'm still going to stay to this side, but I'm going to say
Oliver Ekman-Larsson's been their best player, but that's okay.
You think so?
I got so much crap from Twitter the other day because I'm doing the Minnesota-Philly game.
Well, hold on a second, buddy. Let's get into that in a second. All right, let's get into that.
We got to get to this. We got to get to this sooner or later. It's going to be an hour and a half, and I haven't even talked about these whack balls on Twitter that keep ripping me for whatever reason they do.
Hold that thought for 1 second. Let me just tell you this: you're listening to the Roenick Life Podcast, powered by digital media. Jeremy's going to be going on his JR rant in a second.
When you're running your own business, you're bound to be busy. Too busy. Too busy worrying about your budget. Too busy scheduling appointments. Too busy to build a website for your business. And because you're too busy, it has to be easy. And that's where Wix.com comes in. With Wix.com, it's easy for you to create your stunning website. Go to Wix.com and create your website today. It's easy and free. That's Wix.com.
This is Roenick Life with Jeremy Roenick and Billy Jaffe.
All right, let's get to this. I know you want to talk about it. You are Jeremy the Homer, right? I mean, that's your new nickname, Jeremy the Homer. All right, listen, let's just a little quick background so people understand what we're talking about. You had some Twitter stuff out there. It was a Thursday night game. The Wild and the Flyers. The Flyers come back and win, correct? They come back and win.
They did.
Yep.
They did.
All right.
They did.
What's this Homer stuff about? Are you funny. A Homer? Come on, Mr.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Last thing that I am, in any sense of the word, is a Homer. Because if you know me, you know I'm going to speak off the cuff, and you know I'm going to speak my mind, and I'm going to speak what I see, and I'm going to speak the truth. So what I do when I broadcast, and by the way, I am paid by NBC to be an analyst, and I analyze things. That's what it's called. It's not called a Homer. I'm supposed to see something, and I'm supposed to talk about it, and I'm supposed to teach and inform and let people know what the players that have played the game, that have been in those situations, what it's like and what's wrong and what's not. It's teaching of the game. So that's my job, and I get paid very well from a very, very good network in NBC. Okay? Mm-hmm. So let's just preface that. So I was doing the game the other day, Minnesota and Philly, and I played in Philly, and I love Philadelphia. I love them. I don't care, who hears it. I'm a huge Philadelphia fan. I am a huge Philadelphia fan. I love the city, and that has nothing to do with what I did on a night-to-night basis. So I can't sleep after the game, Billy, and I go on Twitter, and I see all these people from Minnesota, calling me this name, calling me that name, calling me this name, calling me that name again, saying
For what?
You hate Minnesota.
What did you say about Minnesota that they would say that?
Okay, well, they keep saying you always bash Minnesota, you hate Minnesota, you homer, you're biased to Philly, and I'm like, do you guys watch the show? The people that are tweeting me right now that are saying this are so out of the loop. They're so out of touch with what happens because they only see one thing. You know what? Watch your whole show. Do me a favor. Watch the whole pregame, okay? And listen. Open up your damn ears and listen to what is being said, okay? Because the other day, we're doing the pregame, And I'm doing everything but the kitchen sink and telling how great Minnesota is, how good they are at home. They're 14-5. Philly is going to have a real hard time. I don't know if they can do it. They've only won 5 games on the road. The only teams that Philly has beaten on the road is the St. Louis Blues and the New York Rangers of any significance. They don't have any secondary scoring except for the last game that they played where they beat Montreal. One of their best players has 4 goals in Voracek. Their goaltending, they don't have a number one goaltender that they keep battling back and forth between Neuwirth and Mason. I couldn't have been more biased towards Minnesota. I even, in the beginning of the season, said that Minnesota was my wild card team to get to the finals and possibly win a championship because of how good they are. Okay? And these guys are like, you're a homer. You hate Minnesota. You know what? Open your damn ears and watch a whole show. Mm-hmm. And don't just sit there and watch an intermission or a post game, because you know what? Minnesota sucked on Thursday. They were terrible. They were as bad as I've ever seen them defensively. They missed checks. They were standing around. Thomas Vanek couldn't have been more out of place and just not even cared about the game. Didn't bail out his teammates. Mm-hmm. Just throwing the puck away, and Philly outplayed them in their own building. And you know what? They deserve to get crap. They deserve to hear the lashing. I don't do it very often to Minnesota because usually they play very well at home. But Philly deserved the props that they played a great game, and they continue to play great hockey. And then someone steps up on Twitter and says, "Oh, you're a homer for the Chicago Blackhawks too." I'm like, no, I'm not. I'll say when they played bad too. I even said that, a couple of years ago that Corey Crawford, can't make the big save. He's not a number one goaltender. I said that a couple of years ago. I don't think that now. I think he's one of the best goaltenders in the game. He's won a couple cups now, so I think differently. And by the way, how can you be that critical to a team that's won 3 cups? So guys on Twitter, give me some beef. Give me something good. Beef about something that you can actually be right about, because you're so wrong about me saying that I'm biased and I'm a homer. If I see it, I'm going to call it. One thing I will say, Billy, and I know I'm talking long on this, I'm going to shut it off right now. The only time that I might be a homer where I won't say something is if the guy's like a real good friend of mine and he makes a mistake in the game, and he makes a mistake probably because it's a working mistake. I won't call him out on television. I won't say get the replay and show everything that he did wrong. I'll just let it go by and not alienate, one of my good buddies and do. Maybe I might do that once in a while. If it's really bad, I will, but I'll mostly bypass it. That's as biased as I'll ever get. So people, one last time, before you go on Twitter and start, bitch slapping me all over the place and raping me over the coals, watch an entire show and open your ears and remember, I did play the game. I know the game, and I know good from bad. And I know you guys want all of us to say the good things about your team, but we're not always going to.
I think everybody heard you clearly except Patrick Waugh, because his ears were stuck with his ring.
The 2 Stanley Cup ring are logged in my ears, and I'll never get them out.
All right, let's go take some calls, and we'll
awesome.
We'll
Let's hear from the fans. Let's hear from them. AJ, what's going on, man?
JR, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. So you are from Detroit, and obviously, yes, a Detroit hockey town.
What's going on, buddy?
Very happy you're here. Very happy you're here.
What's up, buddy?
Not much. Thank you guys for letting me on your show, man. I've been a big fan of JR. My dad is one of the ones that despise you, but I've always been a big fan of yours.
So what is it about your dad that he doesn't like about me? Because I never even met him. So
actually,
what's
it about JR that your dad doesn't like? Forget your dad. What is it about Jay that he doesn't like?
He doesn't like the fact that JR had to say what was on his mind. He didn't care what anybody else thought. He just wanted to get it out there. And that was one of the only things that I always liked, was that whenever JR was on the ice, he put his heart out there, and if somebody didn't like it, who cares?
So he just wants to hear the same old cliches. Oh, we just played for the team, and we did it 100. Yeah. We gave 100%, and all that kind of crap. So he'd rather live the boring life of reading the paper and listening to the radio.
Yeah, that's actually kind of what he is. Yeah.
Well, all right. So what do you got? What do you got for me? Do you have a question? Do you have a rant? Do you not like something that's going on? We can debate. What do you got on your mind?
So I do have a question. I've been on Twitter a lot lately, and I've been hearing that Detroit's been in the trade hunt for Steven Stamkos out of Tampa Bay, him and Jonathan Drouin. And the Wings are kind of pushing for a cup this year. They've got Dylan Larkin. We picked up Brad Richards and Mike Green in the offseason. But I was wondering, is it possible for the Wings to get Steven Stamkos? I mean, how good he is, but at the same time,
I'm going to say
you don't
no.
think it is?
No way, and Billy, you can chime in too, but no way is Steve Yzerman is going to turn around and take one of his stars, or maybe a future star in Drouin, and trade him to Detroit.
Not to an Eastern team.
An Eastern team that's they're in the same division. So
here's the thing: what do they give up to get Steven Stamkos and Dylan Lark? I mean, if you're talking,
from what I've been reading, this is, sources everywhere is Gus Nyquist, Riley Shahan, a lot of their prospects. Marchenko.
I'll tell you this right now. Those rumors and all that are coming from inside Detroit. They're coming from inside Detroit, either the locker room or they're coming from inside the media, that they're trying to get something going. So maybe Steve Yzerman will feel inclined.
If Kenny Holland does that, he gets the absolute GM of eternity.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for the call, AJ. Appreciate it, buddy. It's tough. Hey, tell your dad to mellow out too a little bit.
Hey, tell your dad you need some guy to stir the pot a little bit, and I'm always the guy that's going to do it, okay? I'm sure he's a great dude.
Thanks, AJ. All right, next caller we're bringing in from the beautiful state of Vermont. Dave, welcome into Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe. What part of Vermont are you in?
I'm actually right in central Vermont, Barrie, Montpelier, right next to the capital.
Oh, Dave, how you doing? Thanks for joining us.
What's on your mind,
joining us today. What do you got? I hear you're a blogger. Are you a blogger for the Bruins?
I'm an independent little guy, Boston Pucks. You guys actually used one of my questions on your second podcast about the Kessler and Sekera contract. Which one?
Yeah, good question. That was a good question. You got your handprints all over Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe. I love it. So tell us, what's on your mind?
Well, I just was kind of checking in with you guys to see what you think about the Bruins, since I basically focus on them most of the time, and they rode a really hot streak there for a while. I see Jaffe on TV every night covering them. You're the best at that, by the way. And I just wonder what you think with these injuries. Can they sustain it? Can they get back into the mix a little bit more? Or do you think that they kind of maybe peaked a little early and it's going to be rough going? I personally think that they're going to be fine, to be honest with you. I think they're surprising a lot of people, and that they might be able to make the playoffs. They should, in my opinion.
Yeah, Billy, I'll start this one because I'll be the first to say I'm surprised. I thought after watching them the first couple games, I thought this season was going to be really long and really painful for Bruins fans, especially giving up Lucic, giving up Dougie Hamilton, trading away some future of the team. Getting rid of Boychuk was just it blew my mind. It blew my mind what they did in the offseason. Then they start off really, really awful. And I'm like, yeah, here we go. And then, boom, they start scoring goals. They're the best power play in the National Hockey League. They're the highest scoring team in the National Hockey League at one point. I cannot, and I've been a Bruins fan my whole life. I grew up a Bruins fan. I'll say bad things when I need to, but I can't say bad things about them anymore. They seem to find a way to get it done, Billy. Whether it's injuries or whatever, they find a way to win hockey games.
Yeah, they do. And I'm a big Claude Julien fan. I know some people out there say, he's not a good coach. He's not an exciting coach. I can tell you something. He's a hell of a coach. He can coach my team any day. He can. He's not perfect. Any coach will tell you. I mean, at least I think a good coach will admit that they're not perfect. They don't know everything, but they have their ways. And Claude Julien has continued to morph this year, try to get the D more involved. Listen, if David Krejci, David isn't back in the lineup in the short term, I'm concerned about the team. I am. I still think that they play hard. They played hard in Ottawa, back-to-back games. They lose in the overtime, but I don't know if they can win without him, bud. I just don't know if they can win without David Krejci, because Krejci and Bergeron are playing so well. They give you that unique high-end depth down the middle for your top two lines. And on the power play, he was spectacular. But if he comes back sooner rather than later, I think this team's going to be okay, and I do think they will make a move. All right, we're going to go from one coast, from one side of the country, from Vermont to L.A., and this is going to make you happy, JR. We're into L.A. Another Dave. All right,
even
Dave.
though I sucked in L.A., I was brutal. I was a brutal hockey player in L.A.
You were a good dancer, though.
I was a good dancer. Hey, listen, I did win the humanitarian award. I did do for off ice, so I did do something good out there for at least for the fans.
But
on ice, I was terrible.
Yes,
I was terrible.
Off the ice. What's up, Dave in L.A.?
So here's the question. As a goalie growing up in the 70s and 80s, we were always told never to leave our feet. Our pads were basically for protection, and I can remember every single pain, every single shot, every single bruise that I had from getting a wicked wrist shot or a slap shot. Now the pads are 4 times as big, and every goalie goes down to the ice the minute the puck is shot. What is it? The style of the goaltending, the butterfly style, or is it the monumentally bigger pads? What do you think has changed the game the most?
What's changed the game is the style, and I think the style started with Patrick Waugh. And Patrick Waugh came in and he started that butterfly system, the butterfly style of hockey, where going down was the norm. And it proved obviously very effective. And the next guy who perfected it was Marty Brodeur. So you got 2 guys that perfected the butterfly style, that thought that going down and taking away the lower part of the net was the smartest idea, being able to move side to side. And they become the 2 best goaltenders, arguably, ever to play the game. Obviously, in the wins category, Marty Brodeur has the most wins of all time. Mm-hmm. But, now they're morphing again. They're morphing again into this weird style, where they're literally they're crunching and hugging from skates inside the post. It's this
whole VH thing, reverse VH.
Yeah, the reverse VH, where they're not letting anybody near the side of the net and the post to post. And I don't like. I mean, the style is weird. It leaves the whole upper part of the net wide open. I would eat that up because I love to shoot high, but it's interesting. Hey, when I was playing, they used to have the one-legged kick. I remember
the kick save. Yeah,
the one-legged kick save. I remember Grant Fuhr and Greg Millen. Sometimes they were so lazy they didn't want to go down. The puck was coming to their stick side. They would just move their stick and whack it out of the air just by flipping their stick out at it. They wouldn't even bother to go down and try to save it. So that's how lazy sometimes they got when I was playing. But these big pads, boy, I'll tell you, they got to do something about it. They got to. Yeah, they got to. Look,
they're doing it. No, I've seen
obviously right in L.A. So you see it right there in L.A. with
Quickie.
Well, Quick, yes, and Enroth. Enroth is 180 pounds, and he can't even see the net. He's so big.
Well, I grew up as a Blackhawks fan, so when I think of butterfly, I always think of Tony Esposito. Oh, and he was one of the first guys to really adopt that V style and drop into the pads and whatnot. But he was always one of those guys who was trying to screw with the system, make the pads bigger.
Yeah,
he had one deal where he put a web between his
put a net between his legs. Isn't that great? Yeah, that's some good stuff by you.
And by the way, awesome. He was also tiny, Tony Esposito. He's not a big man at all, but he played bigger. So, hey, Dave in L.A., thanks a lot, buddy. And if you saw JR dance when you were out there, I'm sorry about that. We got another call coming. This one, Jay, from New Brunswick. From all the way out in New Brunswick.
I love it. I love it.
Actually, you know what? That's stupid-ass comment by me. All the way out there. Come on.
Love hearing from my Canadian fans. It's great.
Tina, this is not Tina. You are not my high school girlfriend, Tina. Are you? You didn't move out there, did you?
Definitely not. Definitely not. We would have shared some great dances, but no, not girlfriend. No.
Okay.
I would have knocked your socks off with my dance moves. That's for sure.
That's one place I think I might have you.
Oh well, listen. If I'm coming up there, I got your number now. I'm calling. We're gonna have a dance off.
What's going on,
I'm
Tina?
changing my number.
What's going on?
Smart girl.
I was just, there's so many questions I could ask you. I love your podcast, by the way. Love them.
Thank you
love
so
how
much.
It's just raw. You're just saying it like it is. It's just refreshing. But if I had to pick your brain, I think I'd like you to kind of take me back 25 years. What's changed from 25 years ago that you think shouldn't have changed in major hockey today?
Oh,
what should have stayed the same?
You know what? With big money comes big business. And with big business comes, the guys have to change their mentalities. And, I think with all this concussion stuff going around, with people now knowing all the dangers and them taking – the instigator rule out of the game, it has allowed some players to come in the game and have jobs just to be idiots, just to run around and rock the boat, go out and hit people just to get his team going, and they really don't have any use besides that. And I hate that, because those are the guys that as soon as somebody challenges them to a fight, they're the first ones to cower and curdle and go back to the bench and not stand up for what they did. And I hate that. Your top players are going to get targeted more. Your star players are going to get hurt more. And there's no accountability for how you play. And that, back when I started, you had to fear for your career almost every game. You had the fear of getting the shit beat out of you every night because someone was coming at you. I remember I had Kelly Chase and Kimball, Darren Kimball.
Oh, Darren Kimball, yeah, he's
oh my God, Darren Kimball.
Both jumped me at the same time, and they beat the tar out of me because I hit Bob Basson so hard I think he almost puked on himself. But they came after me, and they both, two fighters beaten up on a star player, and that, but I deserved it because I was running around being an idiot, and I did that a lot. And but I had to pay for it. I had to pay my dues and fight. I fought Bob Probert. I fought Martin McSorley. I fought all the tough guys because they were able to come after me. Nowadays, they can't do that. And
I don't think anybody even challenges anybody anymore doing that. That's the thing.
But you know what, though? The players are weaker.
So if I could throw my opinion in on that, because I had a funny feeling you were going to say something to that effect. I knew it was going to go down that road somewhere. But I see it today. We don't get to watch NHL teams here, but we get to watch the Quebec Major Junior Hockey and stuff like that. And you see these teams and you see these players who are there as enforcers, and they pretty much don't have any other skill. So my problem is that they're there, but they're taking a spot away from somebody who can actually play the game.
I love it. So how do you feel about John Scott being in the All-Star game? How do you feel about John Scott being in the All-Star game, if that's your take?
Well, it's quite funny. I thought it was a joke, actually.
It started as a joke. It's continuing to be a joke.
It started as a joke, and then it ended up being reality, which is, Jeez, holy.
Which is still a joke.
Unbelievable.
Which is still a joke. Hey, listen, I love it. And listen, don't change your number, because if I do come up to New Brunswick, and I have friends up there, and at Halifax, I got my good buddy Cam Russell, who's the GM.
From Halifax.
Yeah, from Halifax. I will be up there, and I'm going to challenge you to a dance-off, and we'll see who wins.
Oh, buddy, game on.
I love it. I love it.
All right.
See you, Tina. Thanks a lot. Yeah, no, definitely not my high school girlfriend, Tina. That I can tell you.
She'd probably kick my butt. My butt dancing, that's for sure.
Not probably. For sure she will. No, you got confidence, though, partner. You're never lacking that.
Come on, Billy. You are good. We both know I'm a phenomenal dancer.
You are?
Come on, you know I'm a phenomenal dancer.
I know that you're a risque dancer in the sense that you will risk it all, man. You will give it a go. You're not shy.
That's my wedding crashers. My wedding crashers throughout.
There you go.
We both know I'm a phenomenal dancer.
Okay. You are. Yes, that's a good call. I forgot that. All right, one more call. All right, let's get it in.
Yeah, one more.
Baltimore. Let's go to Baltimore. David, a good hockey city in Baltimore. I don't think gets enough credit. They had the old AHL, the Skipjacks there. David's there. What's up, David?
Yeah, not much. Funny being up the Skipjacks. I remember when my dad used to take me to see the Skipjacks at the old Baltimore Arena. Went up there. Trotz was the head coach there. Lots of people forget he was the head coach there.
He was great. Yeah, what's going on? Yep. What else is on?
I just wanted to talk to you about the Capitals and Alex Ovechkin. What do you think has really been the difference between the Alex Ovechkin of the net minus I don't want to remember what it was and the Ovechkin right now?
I think he was embarrassed. I think he was 110% embarrassed 2 years ago when he scored 52 goals and he was a minus 34. And I think he took a lot of heat. He took a lot of heat in the media. He took a lot of heat on television, especially from myself, and even more so from Mike Milbury. But then again, everybody gets heat from Mike Milbury. Go Shocker.
Yeah.
But I think he was embarrassed, and he's a proud guy. And I hope you're an Alex Ovechkin fan, because I am. And I know this guy lives.
Did you give him crap a few years ago, Jeremy? Did you give him crap?
I ripped him.
I remember one time you did. I remember you ripped him. Yeah,
I ripped him 4 or 5 times. And I actually singled out plays where he just didn't back check. He didn't move his feet. He was lazy.
Would you have the balls now if you were standing right next to him to tell him, "Hey, I was wrong," or just I did?
I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong. Billy, get this right. I waswasn't wrong.
Okay.
I'm not wrong ever. No.
Well,
unless the Johansen trade, short-term
memory loss. Those concussions again.
In analyzing hockey,
Yep.
I'm never wrong. Let's just get that right.
All right. Minnesota Wild fans think that you're wrong. You're a homer, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a homer. I love Alex Ovechkin. I think he was embarrassed about that season.
Yep.
I think he's come back, and he came back for a coach that really knows how to get through to a player and really cares about a player, is going to let a player be himself, but also make sure that he tends to the system and the team. And I think he made Alex Ovechkin feel more like a leader, Barry Trotz did. And if you take Barry Trotz's system,
so he empowered him.
He empowered him to be the leader. And, you know, I think Alex Ovechkin wants so bad to win a cup because that's going to be his legacy. He's going to go down as one of the top 3 best goal scorers in the history of the game. His legacy is going to go down whether he wins a cup. And I think Barry Trotz is relaying that to him. You know,
and getting the most out of him. And it goes back to what we were talking before. Like it's okay if he doesn't end up leading the team in scoring as long as they win. It's fine. And I don't think he would have felt that way 2 years ago.
I totally agree. I think he wanted to score his goals. I think he was
get his cookies.
Yeah, he was lazy. He did too many things. He didn't know whether he was a left winger or a right winger because he was all over the ice. There was no structure. Yeah. But he's got structure. He's got structure now. And, you know, I'm sure you guys down in Baltimore and Washington are enjoying this season immensely because you're getting a full game hockey every single night, a 60-minute game of hockey starting from the captain. And that's special. And that's why the team is number one. That's why.
Thanks, David. Good question. We'll keep watching right there. And we're going to actually take one more, Jay, before we're done. And the other thing I want to do, and I know we're going to have him on soon, but everybody makes, and self-included, the comparison of what Mike Modano went through under Ken Hitchcock to win a Stanley Cup to what Alexander Ovechkin is doing under Barry Trotz to potentially win a Stanley Cup. So you know what? Maybe enough of the crap of us surmising or sitting here saying that that's what it's like. We'll have Mo on soon. We'll get Mike on, and we'll talk about that transition from going from one type of player to the more complete player. He still led his team in points when they ended up winning the Cup with what I think it was 80 or 81 points, but it wasn't like how he was before. It was a different style.
Yeah,
so we'll ask him. Instead of us sitting here saying it, let's ask him what that transition was like. All right, one more call, and then we're done taking here. Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe. We're going to go to a place that is incredibly, incredibly important to both Jeremy and myself, the great city of Chicago, and Jonathan is going to join us. Welcome in, Jonathan.
Hey, JR, what's going on?
Jonathan, what's up, man? What's shaking?
Not too much. Living the dream. The Blackhawks are streaking.
What do you got for me?
For Christmas, I just got your new book, an autographed copy I got. So I'm pretty excited to read it.
Oh, that's one thing more that I've never gotten from him. Go ahead. All right. Well, I can't even get an autographed copy.
Excited to read the second book. I enjoyed the first one a lot and put it down, so I'm looking forward to the new stories in the next one.
That a boy. What's your beef?
Hey, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty upset about John Scott being a captain. I think it's pretty embarrassing to the game for the All-Star game.
Tell me why you're mad, and I'll tell you why I'm mad. One of many of reasons why I'm mad, but you tell me why you're mad.
I'm upset because if you go back in the day, the All-Star game was one of the most respectful things. You made the All-Star game a huge deal. And I feel like all sports, and hockey's being one of the worst of them lately, that it's become more of a joke. This John Scott, he's barely playing the game. I mean, is it enforced? That's like having Rafi Torres as a captain.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question. That's a good point by you. And so let me ask you a question, because on Twitter, all these people are saying, I think it's great. You know, it brings attention to a dying event like the All-Star game. The All-Star game is a joke, so you might as well have a joke being played. So how do you respond to that? Because to me, how are you going to get any kind of good game or better reaction or more respect for the game if you continue to treat it like a joke like that? So continue on your point why you're angry that John Scott's there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's a joke. The most you're going to get out of it is a 2-second laugh saying like, "Huh, look at this goon on the ice." But then really you watch the All-Star game and then it's not going to be fun after the first one quick laugh. You go back to 91 All-Star game, in Chicago. That was one of the most memorable All-Star games of all time in any sport.
One of my favorite games ever. And you know what? When players are introduced at events, or when they're introduced on television, or they're introduced anywhere when they do something, they say, so on many games, so on many goals, so many points, how many Stanley Cups, and how many All-Star games they played in. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's how you're introduced. So being in an all-star game is an honor. It's a privileged honor to be voted to be playing the game. Now, the fact that certain fans, not fans, because our hockey fans are awesome. We have the best fans in all of sports, no question. But certain fans think it's okay to mock the system, to mock a game that should be glorified because of the talent that's in it. It should be a celebration of the talent. And then they go and disrespect the game. They disrespect the NHL, and they put a fighter in that has 11 games this year with 1 assist, 260 games. He has 11 total points and is a dinosaur in the game because fighters are not in the game anymore. Strictly fighters, enforcers. They're not there. And yep. I'll say it, Billy, and I don't care if I'm not supposed to say it, but I heard that it was started by Puck Daddy, and they started. And they're supposed to be advocates of the game. They're supposed to be fans of the game. They're supposed to be pushing the game and publicizing the game properly. But instead, they go make a mockery out of it. And I hear the NHL is pissed off at them. Pissed. Which I would be too. And by the way, because of this stupid stunt, they're changing the rules next year of how the captains are going to be picked.
Well, how the teams are going to be picked.
Yeah, how the captains are going to, and good for the NHL for seeing it quickly and changing it, because I agree with you, Jonathan. I agree with you, Jonathan. I'm sure I'd love John Scott. This is not John Scott's fault. We're not talking about John Scott as a person. It's not his fault. The system and the abuse of the system and the fact of the matter. And by the way, the reason why I also hate it is because John Scott is the only representative of the Arizona Coyotes. He's taken a spot away from Shane Doan. He's taken a spot away from Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And by the way, Shane Doan's probably at the end of his career. This is his last chance. He's not going to have a better season than he's having this year. He just became the highest all-time leading scorer in the Arizona/Winnipeg system past Howard-Chuck. Yeah, and now we have to watch John Scott.
I don't disagree about that. To me, Shane Doan's the one that should be there for Arizona. And he gets stooped, if you know what that means. He gets screwed by this scenario.
I hope I meet John Scott at the game, and I hope he gives me a bunch of crap and yells at me or snuffs me or tells me I'm an idiot or whatever. I said it last week. Maybe he punches me or something. Whatever. But the game has to be more respected than they're giving it right now. It has to be more respected. And guess what? The players that are there, Jonathan, Billy, the players that are there this year, now that the NHL has dangled $1 million in front of everybody, and everybody said, well, these guys don't need more money. But listen, they're trying to make the game better. These guys better have a little bit of pride and play harder. Well, they better put up an effort and use a 3-on-3 to play hard. They only have to play for 2 periods if you're going to go to the final.
In theory, these guys will have to wait.
They better work hard. They better work hard and make the game more fun to play, because the respect is being lost because of stupid stunts like the boys started with this whole campaign.
It's a learning experience. How about we leave it at that? Hey,
life is a learning experience.
Let me just say this.
Thanks, Jonathan. Appreciate your call, man. Appreciate your take.
Listen, wherever the hell the Minnesota Wild fans were, you know what? Disappointing. Hey, thank you for your calls. If we didn't get you this week, Jeremy and I we're going to do it again next week. We're going to try and have as much fan interaction as we can,
which is great. We love to hear what everybody has to say out there. It's awesome.
And this week we're doing more than that than anything. We're not even we didn't even have a guest because we wanted to have as many calls as possible. But regularly we're going to have guests, but we're still going to have fan interaction. Remember, you can always go via Twitter #AskJR to get involved in Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe. And again, we will also have open phones where we will be calling you if you have something to say, something to vent, something to give Jeremy some shit about, anything you want to do. Remember, this is Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe, powered by digital media. All right, that's going to wrap things up for us here on Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe. Jay, outstanding effort. Outstanding even for a Sunday morning, buddy. A little concerned about you, but obviously you got some good caffeine into you right there. We love the callers that came in and talked to us, and we look forward to doing more of that. Some great discussion. And don't forget, next week we'll be coming back at you with another episode. Again, it's the Roenick Life Pod with JR and Jaffe, powered by digital media.
This has been a digital media production. Find your voice.